What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, December 17th, 2023, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. So, we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East today and last night. We have this article that was posted by Politico, and it's citing two U.S. officials speaking on condition of anonymity who are saying that the U.S. is planning to strike Yemen. So I want to read to you what this article says. Top Biden administration officials are actively weighing options to strike back at Houthis in Yemen after the Iran-backed group launched new attacks on naval and commercial ships in the Red Sea on Saturday, according to two U.S. officials. The Pentagon has in recent days moved the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group from the Persian Gulf into the Gulf of Aden off the coast of Yemen to support a potential U.S. response to attacks, said one of the officials, both of whom were granted anonymity to speak about sensitive plans. The military has also provided options to commanders to strike the Houthis, the official said. All right, so these officials confirmed that in recent days they moved the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Strike Group off the coast of Yemen in the Gulf of Aden to support a potential U.S. response to attacks. Okay. And these officials are confirming that Biden is actively weighing options. Okay. So this could get pretty hot pretty soon. And if you missed my update earlier this afternoon, I went into more detail about this, but basically, since the war in Gaza started, over 17 ships have come under attack in the Red Sea. And some of the spokespersons from the Houthi group in Yemen is now saying that they're going to escalate their attacks on ships, and they're going to actually now try to sink the ships rather than just harass them and launch missiles close to them or launch drones towards them or tell them to change course or hijack them even. Okay, now they're going to escalate up the next level, which is to actively try to sink these ships that go through the Red Sea. And statistically, the Red Sea is one of the most important areas of the world for shipping. Over 15% of containers moved around the world go through the Red Sea, and already three massive shipping companies have canceled their shipping routes through the Red Sea. Okay, the MSC, Hapag-Lloyd, and Maersk all have ceased operations in the Red Sea. So there's going to be a global impact from these attacks, and that's exactly what Yemen is trying to do, and also Iran, because Iran is behind this. Okay, Yemen is the one who's actively launching the attacks, but Iran is the mastermind. Iran is the puppet master, and that's what they want. Okay, they want to cripple Western shipping and affect our economy. The price of goods are going to start to go up. If this doesn't end and this continues, the price of goods are going to go up. And even worse, if this blows up into a major war, okay, if we get into a major conflict with Yemen, with Iran, with all these militias that are attacking our bases, which, by the way, yesterday we had the 100th official attack on a U.S. base in the Middle East since the war in Gaza started. So, and don't forget that our embassy came under attack like a week and a half ago. Okay, our embassy was hit with multiple mortars and artillery shells. So this is very, very serious. And we now have confirmation from satellite photos that the USS Dwight Eisenhower is, in fact, right off the coast of Yemen. And here we have a picture from a flight tracker. This is from Flight Radar 24, and it shows a Sikorsky Seahawk helicopter flying just south of Yemen in the western Gulf of Aden. right near the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. You can see this Sikorsky helicopter flying in circles here. And these Sikorsky helicopters are usually carried on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. Okay, they're one of the aircraft that the aircraft carriers have on board. And this thing was flying over here. So we know that it's somewhere in this area. And here we have a satellite picture from the Sentinel-2 satellite taken yesterday showing the USS Dwight Eisenhower, apparently 226 kilometers southeast of Salalah, heading towards the Gulf of Aden, along with the USS Philippine Sea and an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Now, if that's not enough, we now have confirmation that 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, guided missile destroyers, are transiting through the Strait of Gibraltar. Okay, so the U.S. Navy is moving 3 Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers into the Middle East. They just transited through the Strait of Gibraltar. The first one, the USS Laboon, transited through the Strait of Gibraltar on December 11th, 6 days ago. And this was announced by the U.S. Navy 6th Fleet Public Affairs. Okay, this is a guided missile destroyer. Okay, these are warships that have Tomahawk missiles. And then just 3 days later, on December the 14th, the USS Delbert D. Black transited the Strait of Gibraltar. This was confirmed by the U.S. 6th Fleet Public Affairs, another Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer. And then 3 days after that, the USS The Sullivans transited the Strait of Gibraltar, another Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, confirmed by the U.S. 6th Fleet Public Affairs. So it seems like they started on the 11th, and then there were 3-day spaces in between the 3 ships. So 11th, 14th, and the 17th today. Okay, 3 guided missile destroyers. Guys, these are the type of destroyers that we have used in the past to attack various countries: Iraq, Libya, Syria, multiple Middle Eastern countries. We have used these guided missile destroyers for that. Okay, they carry Tomahawk missiles. So very, very serious situation, guys. We have an entire aircraft carrier strike group being moved off the coast of Yemen now. It's right next to Yemen, okay? Based on the position of this Seahawk helicopter, you can see it's right next to Yemen. We have 3 guided missile destroyers inbound, okay? And we also have the Defense Secretary of the U.S., Lloyd Austin, confirming that they're going to be preparing another multinational mission to keep this shipping lane open, and it's going to be called Operation Prosperity Guardian, okay? And this is actually going to replace Task Force 153, which was the last one. That was the initial task force that they were going to set up, and it was going to involve like 15 different countries and their navies. Now they're announcing a multinational mission, and this to me sounds like, honestly, a declaration of war against Yemen, okay? Operation Prosperity Guardian, okay? You're not going to call something an operation if it's just a task force, right? Okay, when you call something an operation, it means that you're going to war, okay? Just like Operation Desert Storm. So I think we're just days away from a massive strike on Yemen. It could happen before Christmas. It could happen after. It could happen after the New Year. It could happen in January. They might wait for Israel to wrap up their operation in Gaza. Israel's mostly done with that. They might wait for that. They might also simultaneously strike Hezbollah. Remember, they have another carrier strike group in the Eastern Mediterranean now. Okay, so if Hezbollah decides to retaliate, let's say this multinational mission launches an attack on Yemen, and then Hezbollah decides to retaliate by striking Israel with, hundreds of missiles, we can then annihilate Hezbollah from the Eastern Mediterranean. Okay, so this could be very, very serious, guys. Okay, I believe that a massive attack on Yemen is coming, Okay, it's coming soon, so get prepared. And it's very possible that things could escalate after that. We'll have to wait and see. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, they have brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewithnyprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life, and it's all contained within 6 rugged, watertight buckets, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. Free shipping included, 25% off their normal price. Use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get the discount. They also have a 2-week emergency food supply, which is excellent for outdoorsmen or people who go vehicle camping. They also have a general store. If you click the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com, it'll take you to their general store where they have everything you can imagine, from potassium iodide to water filters, solar generators, solar panels, survival seeds, fire starters, anything you can imagine, it's all there. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month freeze-dried food supply. And the link is in the description below this video. But the whole situation in the Middle East continues to spiral out of control. The Israeli defense minister also stated that Israel is ready to take action against the Houthis, but they are giving the world a chance first. Okay, so Israel's being very patient because they're being blockaded. Okay, most of Israel's goods go through the Red Sea, especially goods that go to Asia. They go through the Red Sea, so Israel's being blockaded. It's like, imagine if China set up a blockade on the West Coast and they didn't allow ships to leave from the port of LA, or allow any ships to come into the port of LA. That's basically what Yemen is doing. Okay, they're blockading an entire half of Israel's access to international shipping lanes. Okay, because they have access to the Mediterranean, and then they use the Red Sea and the Suez Canal to go out into the Pacific, okay, out towards Asia. So, Yemen is basically blocking like half of their access to international shipping lanes. Okay, so this is very serious, guys. 3 guided missile destroyers, Arleigh Burke class, with Tomahawk missiles transiting through the Strait of Gibraltar in the past 6 days. That is very, very serious. Dwight Eisenhower Aircraft Carrier Strike Group is now in position. I want to just share with you guys a picture here that was posted by someone on Twitter. And this is from a plane spotter that lives locally to RAF Fairford, which is a major base in the UK. This is the base where the B-2 stealth bomber landed at a few days ago after they were doing exercises over the North Sea. 2 of them, one of them landed at RAF Fairford, and then the other one went back to the U.S. This is a recent picture, okay? Recent picture. I think this was today or yesterday. You can see this thing in a hangar, and what's crazy is the activity at RAF Fairford in the last few weeks with nuclear bombers. I mean, it's at an all-time high. Here we have a video of when this B-2 actually landed at RAF Fairford. Let me play this for you. And then here we have a B-1 Lancer. If you remember, a few months ago or a few weeks ago, they moved B-1s over there as well. This was about a week and a half ago. That's a supersonic bomber, guys. Here's another video of a B-1 flying in And here's another video of a B-1 taken recently, I think about a week and a half ago at RAF Fairford. So, guys, you don't fly nuclear bombers this much unless you're expecting something to happen. Okay, B2s, B1s. Okay, maybe they're going to strike Iran. Maybe they're going to strike Yemen, and they're moving the B2s and B1s in position for that. Okay, they moved B1s also to Turkey when the war started in Gaza. They moved B1s there. And what's interesting is that at RAF Fairford, they have specially constructed hangars just for the B2s. Okay, so here you have these hangars here. This was taken recently. This is that B2 that landed there a few days ago. They have specially constructed hangars at this base in the UK for B2s. Okay. And we now have evidence that shipping companies are diverting ships around Africa to avoid the Red Sea. Okay, so this is already having an effect. And maybe this is why we had U.S. nuclear forces on high alert the last 2 weeks. And maybe this is why the Russian buzzer was going crazy a week and a half ago on December the 6th with over 24 messages being broadcasted in one day, which is almost unprecedented for the Russian buzzer. Okay, the Russian buzzer usually broadcasts maybe 1, 2, 3 messages every second day, every 3 days. 23 messages on December the 6th. Okay, the Russian buzzer is used by Russian nuclear forces to communicate. So something's going on, guys. Okay, we're definitely preparing for something big. Okay, this Operation Prosperity Guardian, B2 stealth bombers going to the UK, B1s going to Turkey, 3 destroyers with Tomahawk missiles going to the Mediterranean, the Dwight Eisenhower being diverted to the Gulf of Aden. Okay, the writing is on the wall. So get prepared, guys. And apparently today, Israel launched airstrikes on Damascus in Syria, which is biblical. Okay, the Bible says that Damascus will become a ruinous heap in the end times. So this is being reported by Syrian state media. No word yet on damage or what the targets were. And apparently we have another ship today that was harassed by the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Apparently, a Liberian flagged bulk carrier sailing through the southern Red Sea moved off course following a distress call. And on December the 15th, which is Friday, General Michael Eric Kurilla, U.S. CENTCOM commander, traveled to Israel to meet with key leaders. While in Tel Aviv, General Kurilla met with Israeli Defense Force Chief of the General Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, senior leaders of the IDF General Staff, Major General Tomer Bar, commanding officer of the Israeli Air Force and his staff, and Ronen Bar, the director of the Israeli National Security Agency. So, high-level meetings between the U.S. CENTCOM commander and the Israeli military. Okay, these are at the general level, all the generals meeting between Israel and the U.S. So, very serious meeting there. And General Kurilla and the Israeli generals discussed strategic matters, the current security situation, humanitarian assistance, and civilian harm mitigation. And Reuters is reporting that, according to Egyptian sources, Israel and Hamas are open to a ceasefire, but there is disagreement over the details. Okay, so I mentioned the ceasefire in my last update. It looks like there might be something coming this week. We'll have to wait and see. North Korea fired a short-range ballistic missile on Sunday towards the East Sea. South Korea's military said this was shortly after the U.S. and South Korea warned that any nuclear attack by North Korea would lead to an end of the North Korean regime. And apparently, Iran fears that losing Hamas is the first step in an Israeli campaign to destroy all Iranian proxies, says ex-Intel chief Heyman on Israeli News 12. And the IDF's 7th Armored Brigade seizes control of the central square in Khan Yunis. That's the critical city in southern Gaza. Okay, so one of Israel's armored brigades has seized control of the central square. Israeli forces raided the headquarters of a local Hamas battalion commander and nearby terror tunnels. And elite IDF units hunting for Hamas leaders in southern Gaza are using unique technologies and classified military gear. The forces are also using strike drones to eliminate Hamas terrorists. And an Israeli reserve soldier was killed by Hezbollah yesterday by a suicide drone. And Israel is continuing to attack southern Lebanon. They retaliated with some airstrikes. And here we have a video that was released by the Israeli Defense Force Intelligence Directorate. And it shows a video of the brother of the leader of Hamas driving a car through one of the tunnels underneath Gaza. And this tunnel is just massive. You can literally see this entire car is fitting through this tunnel. I mean, this thing looks like a doomsday bunker, like Cheyenne Mountain or something. Look how big this tunnel is. This is insane. It has lighting. It has proper concrete construction, pillars. I mean, a bunch of terrorists are not going to be able to construct something like this on their own. They had to get outside funding, maybe from Iran, most likely from Iran, most likely Russia, China, North Korea. They probably all financed these tunnels. Okay. But this is crazy, guys. And apparently he was the architect of these tunnels. He was involved in building these tunnels. Okay. We have some concerning information coming from Germany and Denmark. Apparently some people were arrested with bomb-making material, and they had ties to Hamas, and they were planning to attack some Jewish institutions. Okay, and this is coming just about a week after EU officials and the FBI warned that there could be terror attacks throughout the winter, especially as the situation in the Middle East escalates. German police seized bomb-making material in raids on Hamas suspects. They removed boxes of ice pack gels used to make explosives from properties linked to 4 men arrested on Thursday night over a Hamas plot to attack Jewish institutions in Europe. Officers were seen carrying blue boxes which were said to contain data storage devices, ice pack gels, and other evidence. The ice pack gel contains ammonium nitrate, which can be used to make IEDs. All 4 suspects were members of Hamas with links to its military wing, German prosecutors said. 3 of them were arrested in Berlin, and the 4th was held in the Netherlands. The men are accused of trying to bring a cache of weapons from an undisclosed location in Europe to Germany to attack Jewish institutions. German officials say there are around 450 Hamas affiliates in Germany, 450, but their activities have been largely limited to gathering donations and spreading propaganda material. Yeah, right. 3 of the men held there have been long-standing members of Hamas and have participated in Hamas operations abroad, according to German prosecutors. The suspects are closely linked to the military branch's leadership. And apparently Denmark was holding 2 people in custody, and 4 others were the target of a terrorism investigation, a prosecutor said Friday, in a case that coincides with 1 arrest in the Netherlands and several in Germany of alleged Hamas members suspected of plotting attacks on Jews and Jewish institutions in Europe amid the ongoing war between Israel and the militant group in Gaza. Authorities in Denmark did not immediately confirm any link to Hamas, which has long been designated as a terror organization by the US, Israel, and most European nations. But authorities in Germany said the 3 people arrested were members suspected of preparing for attacks against Jews in Europe. Okay, very, very concerning, guys. Be extremely careful if you're going anywhere this holiday season, okay, for Christmas, if you're traveling, if you're going to be going to Christmas parties, Christmas celebrations, parades, New Year's celebrations, New Year's parades, Okay, carry a self-defense tool with you at all times. Make sure you have a basic bug out bag with you at all times. And here we have a picture that was released by the Israeli Defense Forces showing one of the Hamas tunnels. You can see the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant walking through it. And want to just update you guys on the situation in Eastern Europe. Apparently, the Moldovan army began training near the Ukrainian border and the Transnistria region. And this was confirmed by the press service of the Ministry of Defense of Moldova. Okay, so Moldova is training their army near the Ukrainian border and near Transnistria. Is there going to be some kind of an attack coming out of Transnistria soon? Potentially. Hungary threatens to veto Bulgaria's entry to the EU's Schengen zone if Bulgaria does not abolish the transit tax on Russian gas. This was reported by Reuters. And over the last 24 hours, the armed forces of the Russian Federation shot down 2 MiG-29 planes and a Sukhoi 25 plane of the Ukrainian Air Force. This was confirmed by the Russian Ministry of Defense. And Polish farmers are demanding that if Ukraine joins the EU, that there be some kind of a transition period for Ukrainian goods. So this way, Polish farmers and Polish truckers don't get impacted by a flood of cheap goods coming from Ukraine into the EU. And Ukrainian drones attacked a Russian airport near Rostov last night. Rostov is actually in Russia. A Sukhoi 24, Sukhoi 24M, and a Sukhoi 34 aircraft of the 559th Guards Regiment are supposedly stationed there. According to Ukrainian media, at least one Sukhoi 34 aircraft was damaged, and Ukraine hit a massive Russian oil depot in eastern Ukraine in the Donetsk region in the Budanovsky district Friday night. Here's a picture of that oil depot on fire. You can see these massive flames. And then here's the aftermath. You can see these tanks are all charred. The Ukrainian armed forces received new AQ-400 Scythe attack drones. The drone can carry a payload of up to 32 kilograms and even up to 70 kilograms over a distance of 750 kilometers. Okay, that is insane, guys. 750 kilometers. Here's a picture of that drone. Okay, that's like 400 miles. And the Lithuanian armed forces have provided another batch of military aid to Ukraine, including several million rounds of ammunition, several thousand rounds for short-range anti-tank grenade launchers, and about 1,000 foldable beds, reports the Lithuanian broadcaster LRT. And Turkey, Romania, and Bulgaria plan to jointly remove mines in the Black Sea. This was stated by the Turkish Defense Minister Yaşar Güler. Here we have a video coming out of Ukraine. This is a recent video showing the conditions there. You can see just crazy mud conditions, guys. We have an El Nino this year. So with an El Nino, the northern hemisphere is going to have a warmer winter. So you're going to have more freezing and thawing. The ground is not going to freeze as solid. And you can see just crazy mud conditions. Ukraine is world renowned for their mud. They have some of the worst mud in the world. So looks like operations are probably going to be paused for at least the near term. Okay, but I do believe Russia is going to try to take advantage of the lack of aid coming into Ukraine and the bickering between Republicans and Democrats over the aid package for Ukraine. Okay, Russia is going to try to take advantage of that. They want to make Putin look good before his reelection in front of Russian people. So apparently the Russian military has already been ordered to try to make more gains in Avdiivka and even to try to take back Kupiansk. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But about a week ago, I reported a video that came from the Chernihiv region in northeastern Ukraine, and there was a video showing Ukrainian army putting anti-tank obstacles along their border with Belarus, okay, up there near Chernobyl, okay. They were putting dragon's teeth and they were building new trench lines. So it's possible Russia could make a second push into Ukraine. They might try to take advantage of this lull in foreign help for Ukraine. And we have the Joint Committee on the National Security Strategy in the UK saying that swaths of UK critical infrastructure remain vulnerable to ransomware, particularly in sectors still relying on older IT systems. Okay, and this comes just about a week after the US reported that China installed backdoors in all of our critical infrastructure. And in the event of some kind of war in Asia, if there's a war with Taiwan or on the Korean Peninsula, or if there's even a nuclear attack, they could go into these back doors and basically destroy our critical infrastructure, shut everything down, shut the power down, blow up pipelines, overload circuits, overload power plants. Okay. And this was confirmed by the U.S. Director of National Intelligence. Okay. They've already built back doors into all our critical infrastructure. And that's why I believe, guys, if there's ever a massive cyber attack on this country that actually takes our power out, like on a large scale, like most of the country, in my opinion, that's a precursor to a nuclear strike. Because what they would do is they would try to destroy our critical infrastructure with the cyber and then potentially hit us with an EMP and then start launching the nukes and do that all simultaneously. That would have the maximum effect. And then they would try to take out our satellites as well. We have a massive storm impacting the U.S. eastern seaboard. All the major big cities are being pounded by rain and high winds. And we have some very hazardous seas off the coast of New England and the mid-Atlantic. There's high wind warnings for Cape Cod, Rhode Island, southern Connecticut, Long Island. Okay, winds over 60 miles an hour. I mean, this is basically like hurricane force almost. Coastal Maine, there's flood watches in effect. There's even tornado watches in effect for coastal North Carolina. And on the backside of the storm, there's going to be snow. Here in my area, we're supposed to get a couple of inches of snow here in north central PA. We have winter storm warnings through West Virginia. Okay, so massive storm. And apparently Mark Zuckerberg is building a doomsday bunker worth over $100 million in Hawaii. And this bunker is called the Kula Ranch. And apparently it's going to be his full-time residence, his new full-time residence for himself and his family. But apparently it's already partially constructed. And the news magazine Wired did an investigation of property records and they interviewed contractors. Apparently the compound is on Kauai, Hawaii. And apparently the compound is on Kauai Island, which is where they filmed Jurassic Park, and it will consist of more than a dozen buildings with 2 central mansions that will be connected by a tunnel that leads to a 5,000 square foot underground shelter with an escape hatch accessible via a ladder, Wired reported, citing building plans. So they actually got a hold of the building plans somehow. 5,000 square foot underground shelter with an escape hatch. The property will house at least 30 bedrooms and 30 bathrooms and will also feature dottings of guest houses and a group of 11 disc-shaped tree houses joined together by rope bridges, according to the plans reviewed by the outlet. The subterranean bunker will hold a living space and mechanical room and feature an apparent blast-resistant concrete and steel door, Wired reported. Other exits and entrances throughout the compound's buildings will have doors with keypad locks and soundproofing, while the library will feature a secret or blind door, according to the construction documents. Cameras are already everywhere, according to one worker, and the plans show that one smaller ranch building has more than 20 cameras alone. Kula Ranch has another feature showing the Meta CEO may be planning for some sort of apocalypse. According to Wired sources and construction plans, the builders hope to make it completely self-sufficient. a water tank 55 feet in diameter and 18 feet tall, along with a pump system, will be housed on the property where existing ranching and agriculture on the 1,400 acres already provide food sources. Zuckerberg has built a 6-foot wall around the compound and has all his contracted workers, no matter their level or involvement, sign NDAs regarding their work on the property, according to Wired. So 1,400 acres. I mean, that's basically a farm. You know, that's like an average size farm in the U.S. 1,400 acres are actually a large farm. Okay, so he's building his own farm. He's building a bunker, 5,000 square foot, with its own water tank. Okay, very, very unusual, guys. Okay, so make sure you guys are building your bunkers as best as you can. Store up your food, store up your supplies. And I'm going to continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East and in Eastern Europe. So make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these emergency updates. And I expect any day now, potentially sometime in January, a massive strike on Yemen. I think it's coming. It could also coincide with a strike on Hezbollah and a strike on the Iranian militias in Iraq and Syria. We'll have to wait and see, but things are really spiraling out of control all over the place. We have all these war fronts around the world, the Middle East, Korea, Guyana, and Venezuela, which seems to have quieted down now. We have China flying planes into the Taiwan Strait almost every day. We have Russia and Ukraine. Russia is continuing to build new nuclear weapons. They're going to be testing missiles in the coming days. They've set up a NOTAM over the Barents Sea for missile tests. They just put one of their RS-24 YARs on combat duty. The U.S. is up arming itself. Okay, there's evidence that the U.S. is placing more warheads on the Minuteman III ICBMs since Putin pulled out of the START treaty. So, guys, we're basically back in 1950. Okay, that's where we're at right now. We're back in 1950. Tensions are really high right now. So make sure you're prepared. Think about nuclear war survival. Check out my nuclear war survival playlist. I'll leave a link in the top right corner. You can also go to my website. There's a link to my website in the description below this video. It's just NYPrepper.com. And in my website, I have all kinds of information on nuclear war survival. And this week, I'm going to announce the winners of the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. If you haven't entered into the giveaway yet, you got to go to my community page on my YouTube channel and look for the post where I mention how to enter the 100,000 subscriber giveaway. It's right at the top of my community page. And you just answer the question and put the state where you live, and you'll be entered into the giveaway. So I will be announcing the winners sometime this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And also, I will be doing a special live stream tomorrow night, Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time with a friend of mine, Bullets for Bucks, Steve. We're going to be talking about the outdoors, hunting, survival, prepping, navigation, things like that. He has a lot of experience hunting in wilderness areas in Wyoming and Alaska. He lives in Wyoming, so I'm going to pick his brain, and hopefully you guys can learn something from him, and maybe I can too. So join me tomorrow night for the special stream with Bullets for Bucks, and I will continue to monitor the situation in the Middle East and all over the world. So stay tuned, guys, and have a good Sunday night. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.